Let me continue this session and then see how to incorporate usual hardware items you are likely to find in the market into your drawings. Most CAD packages will permit you to directly import DWG, DXF or IGS formatted what I call files in those formats. If that is available, there is nothing like it. Things will work nicely. But occasionally we will end up with this condition. If you have a look at the monitor, you will notice that you have this device with you, and then you need to incorporate it in your thing because you have tried it, and then in general it seems to be suitable, and then you have already tried it on your the circuit. So the way out or anything, how to do it is somehow we need to locate the either drawings or the actual device and so on. There are a little plus point and a little minus point also. The plus point of directly using the component is with you, and we are not very sure whether the whatever is given in their dimensions whether it is actually reflects what is there or not. Well, at one level it is very perfectly fine. Another level we have a little problem of not able to get a replacement which follows this thing. This can happen due to manufacturing limitations, because always know that E and OE and T and C errors and omissions and things can change anytime. All those things are valid, but in general if it is contracted and you get it in a batch, better to locate this drawing. And if you see, one small problem with me here is this is not a drawing as such, it is a PDF scan. So we have a problem with this. Now if you try to incorporate these things into your designs, one of the first things you need to do is start with a clean slate. And I said we have made the things and so on. Now what we do here is, usually they have this provision saying try to start with a way of, if it is possible for us to trace the PDF file or any other thing we have, including if you have a drawing of some sorts. Very rarely the PDF files really show the actual dimensions, because the chance of things getting stretched this way or that way and so on. In spite of it, I would like to show you, saying this is how typically a thing we can start here, and I see how best I can. See, what I have done is, after measuring the various features in this, I have recreated the drawing using the dimensions which are here. So for the present, I will try to I will hide the that reference thing I have, and then proceed with the you see here the reference for us is the 4 mounting holes, and everything is tied with respect to the mounting holes, because in the case of our any display or anything, what locates the display in the enclosure are the 4 mounting holes. So I have just created a rectangle of the size that is described there, put 4 openings there, and from here I am familiar, or I am very comfortable with working with a center line and mirroring on both sides, because generally these things are things like this, displays and all, part of it is symmetrical, and it helps me in my workshop practice. So generally what we do, we take a something. If I need to create a box, after taking the dimensions, I put it on a surface plate, put a height gauge and mark. So I mark something, turn it over and mark here, so that my setting is avoided. And if the blank and all is calculated properly, this is the best way of making something manually. However, if you have the all the coordinates and all in the CAD format, so ordinate dimensioning from one extreme is possible. So kindly look back at my this monitor. So in due course, what has been done is I have put the center line and then try to make try to mirror things. See, that is the window that has been, what do you say, given in the that dimensions drawing which I have given. So starting with this window, I have now tried to get the outline of the PCB. The outline, PCB outline is marked there. Then I have removed all the unwanted features which are only distracting. It does not really help. And then at this point, I have tried to create a little gap to the edge of the printed circuit board. The gap I have there is in the normal, what they call in more by experience, I have discovered that if you leave around 4 millimeters from the edge of the printed circuit board to the inside, that will be sufficient for me to place other hardware, typically for mounting this. If I have a screw here, I need to have a boss which sits on that. See that? So the boss in those things is typically around 8 millimeters. 8 millimeters is big. We can even put up with 4 millimeters, but I have got used to this saying, now I leave a little gap and then around that I have built the thickness also of the device. Now you see here, as I keep moving, you see what I have done. I am sure you understand or you appreciate little of it. One of the first things are that it is probably much better if I have a single printed circuit board in which I try to mount all the various items. Typically in this case it is a small display and then I have a keypad. So if you see inside, I have made this almost about the same as this, almost about the same. Hence you see that I have followed those lines from here onwards. No? See what I have done, I have tried to develop the enclosure based on the insides. Well, this part of it is very, what you call, convenient and nice. Now we come to the external part of the enclosure. You see, one small what you call thing I was trying to show you is likely to happen in most of the places is that we have a display which is about this small, and then I am trying to justify all my keys and all with respect to this. This is just an old practice which design draftsmen have been doing. In case it does not fit, generally what they do is they make a decal or a sticker all around and then try to adjust it. So I have a small thing here and then all around I try to make a decal or something and see that things follow that line. So if you see here, so far it has been relatively easy. You have seen this, I have developed a beautiful, what do you call, top portion of it. Having done this, now I need to decide whether I make it in what do you call, hand assembled, hand fabricated plastic sheets, or is there some other way of my making it. So for the present, again, if you remember, I said let us make a, what do you call, these things here saying what sits where and there are several layers and all that. Logically, this whole structure what I have given here ought to go into a thing which I shall call display, so that at leisure I can switch off these things. If I switch it on, I have the display printed circuit board, I can switch it off also. Similarly, if I have a keypad or some printed circuit board or anything, I can now see if I can make it into a thing saying keypad. See there, I have a keypad, I have the what do you call the display board. Now I see what best I can do using these things. I now switch off these two things so that I have only little bit of a center line and these things. Just for the purposes of illustration, allow me to start making a device with practically straight no tapered and things. I will tell you why I am doing this. So, what I do is now once again the other thing, I will make a thing called a top, like what I have shown you earlier, and then I will call this as bottom. Okay. I will now see if I can extrude this whole thing and try to make it into a you have seen this? Advantage for me is starting from the construction in the beginning, now I am able to make this without too much of, I will say, ado. Now the next level is there something else also I can do? I have the inner what do you call curve. Similarly, I have the outer curve. Depending on what I want, I will take the inner curve now and then see if I can like before try to make a small extrusion. See how easy and convenient it has become. See in this, I have a bottom half, bottom part, then I have a top part. This thing is going inside and a box is ready for me. And in this case, the bottom and top being a little symmetrical, all I need to do is probably copy this again on top. Take it up. Except that it does not look so good. You have seen that. Though the pieces are about the same, the edge is visible. Now, should I keep the edge visible or what I should do? I do not like it. So, what I do is I will discard this because this is not my intention. Instead, I will go back to the same point, take the outer curve and then once again try to make a solid. You see here, now if you see this one, you see this corner, this overlaps here. At this point, this corner is overlapping. Here it is inside on the other side. So, I have a neat thing with a little bit of detailing which I tried to do. It just at this point, it just requires two more things: a small opening for the display, another opening for the keyboard with all the keys and so on. So, I now see if I can switch on these things, hide this, probably hide this, turn it over and see. Can you see here? On the other side, I have all the detailing which I had started at that point. Now it is for me to decide what next to do. One of them is, you see here I have a nice what do you call cute what do you call a small outline. Now do I make use of it to make a cutout? I have a curve there, one more curve here, one more curve here. I have these 4 curves. Using this, I will see if I can create a small what do you call, one more solid. Try to do a boolean at this point. See here, I have got a nice what do you call an opening there. Similarly, at the bottom, I will see what best I can do here. I notice here is the notice that this one is a what do you call little rectangular, and this may or may not be how the keyboard will look like. Just to sort of play around with this, what I will do is I will just now start making this and then try to switch off the other things and see what best I can do with this. Can you see here? I am back here, and then to see my orientation, I have X, X, Y and Z in this place. Now I see what best I can do to make the keys at this point. It is on the keypad. These 4 lines happen to be on the keypad. So I go back here and see if I have standard keys which I have taken from a catalog, I can directly use the keys. So generally we have 12 mm, other half an inch keys and all that. So in this case, to how to tell make things a little easier, I meant faster. I will try to create a keypad which is seen here, just a matter of division. I just wanted to see whether I can make a 4x4 key, and then I will offset this by so much. You see in here, one corner of a key I have tried to create. Now you may appreciate why I keep insisting on a middle line. I will try to mirror it now. And then further, I am sorry. See, by my what I'll say, a little bit of a judicious creation, I've been able to make 4 keys which looks approximately, they're all spaced reasonably okay and all that with respect to this external line. So at this point, if you remember, this is directly in line with the display. Now, because I have started like this, it is otherwise, it's very much possible for me to, I'll just join these things together, readjust them a little and see how best this external thing ought to go here. Similarly, this one needs to go here. Now I see this gap now is not as comfortable. Now you see they appear, not yet. Now they appear to be reasonably equally spaced. You got what I was trying to say? So we have here this 4 of these entities. Now I'll see, one more time I copy this, maintaining about the so I haven't lost much by thinking a little about it, and of course this doesn't look very symmetrical. Okay, now I'll do the outermost things, try to take it down. Okay, now if you see, I have 4, matrix of 4 by 5 keys. Now I try to see what best I can manage. Can I have one long key here and then these 2 joined together and so on. I can go around, see if I can join these 2 and make a long key here. Not impossible. I have exploded the device. I have done something here, and then made senior. I have a long key which I have made here. I'll see if I can similarly make a long key here. It's very easy. In another way of doing it is, I just delete this whole lot and then explode this and this, remove this, and then in another thing I try to fillet these 2. These are all about the same only. I will now fillet these things. You see here this long line, at this point I will try to hide. You have seen this here. Now, one of the things you will notice is I have a nice what looks like a keypad, and if I were to switch on this other layers which I have switched off, you see here, miraculously it fits. Now I go back to the top, start working on the top, and then go back to the default. These things which are part of, I think I will try to make it to the again top layer, switch off and see what best I can do with the keyboard that I have created here. What I do is convert this whole thing like before into keys which I can extrude do a Boolean operation, get rid of all the spaces which are there. You see here, eventually my thing is likely to look like this. Now I try to make the solid difference. I have a nice top plate which has all the necessary keys or whatever it is. Only thing is that it does not have the keys itself. This is the opening. Now when I switch on the other things, I have a box with all the keys which are visible nicely, and then I have this bottom cover also. In this case, this right now I have not yet moved into the bottom, it is still in the other layer. I will put it into the bottom. You have seen this. I have a nice case here. Now all that I need to do is try to make a printed circuit board based on the original dimensions and all I have taken. And why I have made this flat and things are, it's relatively easy for us to fabricate these things in either sheet metal as well as some plastic sheets. Traditionally, if it is just a dummy model, people try to make it out of polystyrene sheets, and you can even absorb them. But these days, I am sorry, you can even later on join them and so on and change the materials. But the basic concept drawing is still the same. And based on this concept drawing and take this, we can come back to the old cardboard box which I have talked about.